Well, interesting developments right there. Of course, the people in Western Kenya might just riot on the basis of that so-called adulteration of their maize and ugali. But really, when you get down to it, what exactly informs decisions such as this? Why would the government then decide to start to diversify the sources of either starch or some other nutrients? Well, in simple words, information, data, research, the sort of thing that then informs this kind of policy is what we want to discuss in the next conversation. And I want to bring in the expert himself, Dr. David Ameya. I hope I pronounced that right.
It's great.
Yes, and you are the CEO of the International Center for Evaluation and Development, yes, a body which essentially focuses on literally not just collecting this information, but also crunching it and enabling us to be able to use it to develop policy that drives these economies in Africa one way or the other. So, doctors, have we been able to adequately utilize the data that we have here on the continent?
Yes, that is the, as you are talking and I'm listening to you,
yes,
you are using those words interchangeably: data, information, knowledge, evidence.
Yes.
And that is the problem that Africa has been having for some time. There are abundance of data. People talk about data. When you process the data, you get information.
Yes.
And information is everywhere. You go to the media, you go to the libraries, we have a lot of information.
Yes.
When information is contextualized, and then processed, then it gives you knowledge. Then when you get the knowledge, then you apply the knowledge in a situation, in a particular situation. And that is where you get what we call the evidence-based decision. So I get a data, every day I get a lot of data.
Yes.
We process it, I'm able to produce some information, and I'm aware of what is going on. But my context, my culture, my educational background help me to form a knowledge base. And then when I'm able to use that knowledge in a different specific situation, that is what is called the evidence.
Yes.
So what we are talking about is that, in Africa, there are a lot of information. People are collecting data every day. A country like Kenya, a lot of surveys have been going on.
Yes.
We are processing it. And we publish a lot of information. But how do we use that information to make policies and make decisions that affect everybody's life? And that is what ICE is about, and that is what we are planning to really launch it in USIU next week, where we are bringing the data collectors, the policymakers together, and then come out with a strategy where we can use the data, the information, the knowledge into an evidence-based decision-making and practices.
So what has been the challenge? Is it an issue of lack of knowledge about what you're talking about? Is it a matter of capacity, that there might not be the capacity of people at your level to be able to crunch this data, or even at different levels? I have seen in the past publications, like a book called Poor Numbers, how statistics in Africa mislead us on African development. People have recognized that this problem exists. How then do we go ahead about tackling it?
Yes, one of the things that other countries have done, and that is what we'll be talking about next week, is that, like Kenya here, we have the government Big Four.
Yes.
It's a very big initiative that are going to influence a lot of people's livelihood in this country. When this Big Four comes, that is where we need people to say, what are the data that is available? What are the information? What are others, what have others done on, let's say, infrastructure, on housing, on food security? And how do we bring it together in Kenya context? And when we are able to synthesize this information and we are able to process it in the context of Kenya culture and value system, then we will be able to share it with policymakers, and practitioners, and said, in Kenya context, these and these are what is applicable to us. And then the decision that the policymakers will be making, the practitioner makers will be basing, is based on an evidence, that they can use to improve life. And for a long time, because most investment in Africa are donor-driven, the donors commission the evaluation. And the evaluations are presented to the donors. and it sits on the donor's shelf, but we haven't been able to take it to our own context. You know, I have done a lot of surveys. I came to Kenya in 1996 to collect data in Kitui districts.
Yes.
And when I finished, I left the country with my data and analyzed it in Washington, D.C. The people that I spent more time sitting down 2 hours to talk to them, they never got the feedback on what we did. And since that time, we have been coming to here, collecting the data, writing evaluation report, but we haven't given them any feedback on the information they have given to us about the pattern of their land preparation, things like the crop they are using, things like the fertilizer they are using, the rainfall pattern, you know, their yield. You know, we haven't gone back and even tell them that every 3 years there's going to be a drought. Therefore, in the year 3, you have to buy maybe a drought-resistant seed to plant. You know, we haven't given them that information. So their practices are a routine thing that is not based on any evidence. You know, it's more what they have been doing. But if we are able to analyze the information we got from them, we went to their environment and we said, in Kakamega, every 3 years, there's bound of, you know, to be a drought. Therefore, the information we got from you, this is how you should apply it. And that is what we call an evidence-based practice or evidence-based decision-making.
In closing, because we have run out of time, are there any examples, very quickly, that we can hold up in Africa, say this has been a decision that was taken using the formula that we are saying is the one that should work?
Yes. You know, I used to work for an organization called ADRA. You know, the Alliance for Green Revolution in Africa, where we have been able, we look at Tanzania, you know, where there was a ban on exporting maize to Kenya. And when we were able to do the studies and look at the economic impact to the farmers, and we presented it to the Tanzania government, they lifted the ban, you know, because they saw that it's not the people they are protecting, but they are protecting, they are constraining their income. You know, so they lifted the ban. And as a result, Tanzania and Kenya maize trading, you know, was liberalized.
Okay, indeed, sir, unfortunately, we are out of time. But just to remind our viewers that this event is taking
place at USLU next week, 26th and 27th. And we are going to have that dialogue and use different case studies, and we invite the public, the practitioners, to attend the Evidence to Action Summit in USLU in Kenya here.
Thank you very much, sir, for your time.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, of course, on that informative note right there, to of course ask our viewers to look forward to that event. Dr. David Ameyo, he is the CEO for the International Center for Evaluation and Development. Now, if